Do you remember when oil was worth literally less than zero just last year? Well, not so much anymore. Oil is climbing higher and higher every single week, and gas prices are climbing to the highest levels that they've ever been in many parts of the country, with the national average of gas being $3.50 per gallon, and in some states like my home state of California, gas being more than $6 per gallon. A lot of people are pretty upset, and rightly so. And so the Biden administration has just announced that they're going to take from the strategic oil reserve 50 million barrels of oil and release them onto the world markets. Now, what is this really going to do? Is it just political posturing, or will it have an impact on your wallet? You're going to find out here in this video, and comment below with what you think of gas prices and where they are where you live today. Now, my name is Kevin Conway. I make personal finance videos all the time, so please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And for all those people who are looking for a SoFi Money referral link, it was gone and now it's back. It's in the description below. With that being said, let's get right into the very latest. The Biden administration is going to release 50 million barrels of oil onto the world markets. That may seem like a lot, but it really is not. When you look at the fact that the daily consumption worldwide of oil stands at roughly 100 million barrels per day. So this 50 million barrels of oil that they're going to release into the world markets is barely going to make a dent. And considering that they're going to do it over a multi-week period, it really isn't going to have that much effect at all, which is why the oil markets actually went up when the Biden administration announced that they were going to do this, because the oil markets suspected that the Biden administration would try to push for an even greater amount of oil released onto the world markets. But it really is not that much oil, and it's not going to make that big of a difference. It should be noted that several other countries are actually going to join the United States in releasing some of their national stockpiles of oil, and those countries include China, India, South Korea, the United Kingdom, and Japan. But all of those combined are only going to release about 10 to 15 million barrels of oil combined. So that means that all those countries are not even going to do anywhere close to the amount the United States is doing, and the United States is not going to release anywhere close to the amount of the world consumption of oil all in a single day. That is how bad this situation is. That is how backlogged we are with producing oil for the consumption of the world markets. Now, it should be noted that the world consumption has gone up to a record high. It is 5% higher than it was even last year. So why did the Biden administration do this if it's not really going to have much of an impact at all? Well, cynically, a lot of people are saying it's just a cheap political trick to try to save Joe Biden's falling approval ratings. Now, many people are upset because inflation is at a 3-decade high at a more than 6% annualized rate. Gas prices are up 50% from the average of last year. Food prices are up. I mean, I know I've seen it in my own personal finances. Let me know if you guys have in the comments below. And a lot of people are saying that is why President Biden's approval ratings have fallen. And as a result, President Biden wants to actually just try to do something, even if it isn't very much at all, to show that he's trying to manage this process. And so as a result, he's releasing this onto the world markets. Now, this isn't the first time this has been done. In fact, in 2011, President Obama actually did the same thing with 60 million barrels of oil, which is interesting because it's even more than President Biden's doing right now. And that was in response to civil war conflicts in the Middle East, which were driving up oil prices at the time. Now, notice in 2011, that was right before a presidential election year. And right now, President Biden is doing it in advance of the midterm elections, which do not look very favorable for Democrats right now, with Republicans holding a very sizable 8-point advantage on average with the poll averages today. It also should be noted that President Biden is in kind of a precarious situation right now when it comes to coordinating with China and, of course, with OPEC, which OPEC now kind of includes Russia as well, since they produce a lot of oil, and all of those people that he needs to actually produce more oil, all of those countries. Right now, the United States has somewhat of an adversarial relationship. In fact, China said that even though they kind of agreed to release these strategic oil reserves along with the United States, they're not going to make any definitive conclusion right now. They'll do it on their own accord. Many Republicans are attacking the Biden administration and saying it is not enough to release this pittance of oil onto the world markets. You need to do more. You need to incentivize, or at least not disincentivize, domestic oil production, which is still down almost 2 million barrels from before the pandemic. And in the recent stimulus bill, which was just passed and signed into law by President Biden, there's a litany of fees and regulations that are imposed upon drillers in the United States. As a result, the world is forced to look elsewhere, even though the United States is the world's largest oil producer, which is kind of an interesting fact. I really didn't know that before just a little while ago, and the United States remains that, but it is not producing at the level it needs to. Additionally, there may be more bad news for people like us who fill up their car every day in the near future. We know that OPEC is going to meet very soon and decide that they probably will start cutting their production, therefore propping up the oil prices, even if the United States releases that strategic oil reserve. We do know that Saudi Arabia and Russia are in favor of this. Those are two members of what they call OPEC Plus, which is essentially just the cartel in the Middle East and part of Russia and elsewhere that actually produce a lot of oil and work in conjunction with one another to keep oil prices high. We do know that they want to actually start cutting that production in order to make it so that the oil prices remain high, but we do know other powerful members like the UAE are resisting that attempt, so we'll exactly see what happens there, but it's not good news. We do know that Saudi Arabia right now is basically break even on their government budget with oil around $80 per barrel, which means that they would like to see it stay at that level and not dip dramatically below that. And if it stays at that level, if you live in places like California or elsewhere, unfortunately, higher gas prices are here to stay. With that being said, though, it is not just oil that impacts higher gas prices. In California, for example, we have a whole host of different fees and expenses that are lumped on top of the gas prices. Around $1.20 of every gallon that you put into your car in California is just government fees to the federal government, state government, and sometimes local governments as well. We do know that production is impacted too by the amount of refineries that are on board, and the Northern California recent storm surges have put a lot of the refineries offline temporarily, and those may come online soon, but it will be limited in their production, especially with so many people traveling for the holidays. Overall, it's a very tough situation, and actually one of the reasons why I decided to purchase an electric car. You could find out more about that here in this video, and I actually did so, and it basically cost me nothing at all, and that's because of all the different government incentives for doing so. So be sure to check that one out. And if you guys have any questions at all, comment below. I'm really curious to hear what gas is in your local area. When I just filled up a few days ago, it was $5.30. I couldn't believe it. My wife drives a gas car, and of course I have the Tesla, so I don't actually have to incur that pain all the time, but my wife does, she tells me, and that hurts me as well. So anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much.